everybody. Welcome back to episode 31 of the Crazy Hockey Dads podcast, the unfiltered podcast for hockey parents. No politics, no sugarcoating, just real talk for hockey parents in the trenches.
Fucking trenches.
Yo, that's what's up.
What is that?
Oh, man.
Dude, as soon as we
honestly,
start, happened last episode too. Do you know what that is, by the way?
it's the timer.
Yeah, it's your and my timer to like meet and go over stuff.
Jesus Christ. What
the fuck?
You need to go to like,
Awful.
I don't know, like tech ed.
It's not tech ed. I need a new phone. Like,
Okay. That's not going to make a difference.
Yes, it will.
It doesn't. It will. Not. If you don't know how to use it.
Phone has a mind of its own.
If you don't know how to use a phone, it's not going to work.
No, I do not use a phone.
Anyway.
This one is fucked up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I know it is.
All right. Good job.
Yeah. Shall we?
Yeah, let's get going. So, dude.
Yeah.
31.
31.
The hockey season.
31.
Last week, it felt good just to start talking about things, but you didn't even have a game this weekend. So
sucks.
Yeah. So I did
practice.
I just came back from my game.
Yeah, where Otto scored like 9 hat tricks.
No, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, he only had 1 hat trick.
Dude.
But 5 points.
Yes.
It's huge.
It is huge.
Huge.
And I don't want to take anything away from him.
Me neither. Leading scorer, here we come.
What?
I said me neither. Leading scorer, here we come.
Oh, please. That's so not on the radar.
Listen.
But I will say.
It happens.
Look, but the truth about this is going down to play tier 2.
Yeah.
My thoughts were that he would be one of the better players on the ice.
And that was true.
The sample size is small.
Right. Okay, fair.
And it's, early indications continue to point to yes.
Mm-hmm.
That said, there's still a ton to work on. And I also don't want to make it seem like, that there isn't, because there always is. The idea. I always say this to him, and he doesn't. He just rolls his eyes. But I'm like eternal white belt mentality.
Yes.
And
agreed.
And yeah, I think he forgets what it means every time I say it. But
yeah, no, it's true though. It's good advice.
No, but at the same time,
why don't you explain that for our listeners?
Internal
just in
white
case
belt?
somebody doesn't know what you mean by that.
Okay,
I know what you mean by that, but in case anybody else does,
so
we do have ears that are listening, not just you and I.
Ears? Yeah. So eternal white belt.
Yeah.
Doesn't everyone listen with their ears?
Fucking obviously.
Okay.
I'm saying, but we have ears listening, like other people other than you and I sitting here at this table.
Oh, got
like
it.
Other people.
Oh, okay.
Like there are 26 countries. Other people.
Oh, copy. All right.
Other people.
So eternal white belt. In martial arts, you start as a white belt. It's the most beginner belt one could have in martial arts.
Right.
And it's just an expression to say you're in a constant state of learning.
Right.
Yep. And the moment you stop, you think you don't need to learn anymore.
That's right.
The day you stop getting better.
You want to hear something funny? When Dominic was younger, and I would tell him when he was probably like, I don't know, call it 8 years old, 7 years old. I'm like, Dominic, we're going to go to a power skating class. He's like, Dad, I don't need to go to a power skating class. I already know how to skate.
Oh, you've said this before. Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, so to combat that,
I don't need to go. I already know how to skate.
I already know.
Like, do you? So the pros that constantly practice when they're in the professional ranks, they're doing it just because, I don't know, they really like to.
If the pros need to practice,
you do too.
You do too.
Thank you. Exactly.
Right. If the pros have skating coaches,
maybe you should as well.
Just a thought.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But so at any event, so he had a good game. It's
great, man.
The team,
it's exciting.
The team pulled out a good win. It was exciting, back and forth, blah blah blah. But yeah, man, it's
good.
It's things are good.
Yeah, sounds
so far.
it.
Things are good so far.
Sounds great.
Yeah, man.
Good. I love it. I listen. I hope you guys have. So you guys had one game this week.
Just one.
Yeah, we had 0. Ours got turned into a full ice practice, which was good. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you watch? And I'm not saying this to put you in the hot seat about our conversation.
No,
I
did not.
I was just curious about the full ice practice and how it was run, and like if you got a sense for like what the guys were working on.
Honestly, I have no idea because I didn't walk in. I was sitting in the lobby chatting the whole time. And then they all walked in for the last a bunch of people came out and they're like, they're going to scrimmage for the last 20 minutes.
Oh,
so like when I walk in, so I walked in. It was way too cold. I walked right out.
Way too cold. You know what you need? You need like gear. Well, you need rink gear.
It was like 87 degrees yesterday, 86 degrees yesterday. Rink gear, you say?
Yeah, you do need rink gear.
We need. So you think that if I had the proper rink gear attire, that I would have been warm?
I think so.
Interesting you say this.
Yeah, I will. I'll look. I'll find something for you.
You know what? I have a feeling you will find something for me.
No doubt.
Coming soon, people. Coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I wore my sweatshirt at the rink today.
Did you now?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
So I was warm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So I was in shorts and like a long sleeve yesterday, so I was cold. And flip flops. And flip flops.
Okay. All right.
And that left rink is abnormally cold.
Oh. Yeah,
compared to the right rink.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
That right rink, shockingly, was empty. I'm not really sure why.
Oh.
But there was nobody on the ice on a Saturday evening.
I had a conversation about that.
Did you? I'm sure you did. Isn't that strange though?
Anyway, so we were back in the saddle this weekend. You were not.
Was not next weekend.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
And then
it starts kind of Fast and Furious after that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
Yeah. I hope everybody who played this weekend. Hope your kids did well. I hope you parents didn't blow any gaskets.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want to blow any gaskets, especially this early in the season, if we can help it.
Yep.
But yeah, no. So I hope everybody had a good weekend.
Yeah, would love to hear. Really encourage people to write in.
Drop us a line.
I've had a few, just haven't had a chance to read them yet. We'll get back to everyone.
Yeah.
But no, please write in. We'd love to hear more stories.
Yes, we would. That's
because
for sure.
We actually had a call with the guy Mark out in Illinois. Shout out Mark.
We did. Yes,
And-
Mark. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice dude.
Yeah, good conversation.
Keep listening, Mark. Keep listening.
Yeah, he's out in Illinois and just was talking about some regional differences.
That was cool, actually, to hear.
100%.
Yeah.
So it would be great to hear from more folks in different parts of the country
Yes.
that just have different things going on that perhaps we're not touching on.
Yeah. Things definitely do kind of change a little bit depending on where you are in the U.S.
No
That's
doubt.
for sure.
Yeah.
Just because we are here in the Northeast, it definitely doesn't mean that things are exactly the way we do it.
Well, they're definitely not.
No, they're definitely not.
But listen, real quick, before we get going
fire
any
away.
further, let's just shout out partners.
Go.
Howie's Hockey, Crazy10.
Crazy
Use the
10.
discount code, get 10% off your order. Pro Stride, Elite Skating.
CHD10.
Yep, Angelo Sirs. It's so I got I got an email from Eric Nate's skating or the Euro. I forget the
It's
name
like
of
Eric
his.
Nate's Euro skating or something like that.
Yeah, but either Eric Nate's, but he's already putting out emails for Thanksgiving
Yeah,
clinics.
not shocked.
So
Not
there's,
surprised.
Folks, take a look at Angelo
Yeah,
Sirs's
during the
Elite.
Thanksgiving break.
Yeah, pro side skating. Look for holiday clinics, etc.
Yeah, he's a sick power skating coach.
Yep.
If the New Jersey Devils trust him, maybe you should too.
No doubt.
Saying.
That's a feather in the cap, if
Just
anything.
saying.
And then
Maybe smart. Just
Athletic
saying.
Performance Insight, API.
Eric?
Again, anyone that's looking or thinking about video and analytics for their team and haven't done anything yet, definitely reach out to him. I actually spoke to him, and we're looking at it maybe. So this past week, got a text message from the HC. Head coach, just saying that we're going to have video review.
Well, you guys
we
gonna-
are,
are you
and
gonna
I
use
didn't, I hadn't spoken to anyone about it,
yeah.
and I was like, oh, funny you mentioned that because I happen to know a guy.
Oh,
And
interesting. So you guys are going to think about
so
using it?
Yes, I'm
You guys are in conversation?
in conversation. Hopefully that works out because it's
Good,
a
let me know.
great platform.
Yeah.
Please, anyone that's interested, reach out to Eric. Visit Athletic Performance Insight for more information and use the contact form to request a demo. They will even tag one of your games for free, and new users get 10% off a season subscription by mentioning Crazy Hockey Dads.
$100 value right there.
Oof, you are a math wizard.
I know. And I don't even have a calculator.
It's amazing.
I know. I can't help it.
All right. Well,
it is what it is.
You're the brains. I'll be the bronze. Okay. So those are our partners.
Yep. Sure is.
What else?
What else? We took care of all the. We added fucking Delaware.
Delaware. Let's go.
Finally, fucking Delaware, dude.
Yes.
I mean, so now we are 40. Jesus.
Yo, my
I'm
guy.
telling you.
Instead of just turning it like swiping up, can you just like turn it off?
I can.
But you don't know how.
I do.
Oh, so what do you?
No, I
what
do.
You wanted to just go off again?
I didn't want to screw up our camera here. If I swipe up, will I screw up our camera?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying not to screw up our camera.
Fucking brilliant.
Seriously.
Okay.
We just need to kill this segment within the next 5 minutes. Because the snooze is on.
Shit.
So talk quickly.
Yeah. Okay, so
I know for interview, and and here you go, folks. Enjoy the interview.
Yeah.
God, what was I even? What were we saying?
You were saying Delaware.
Oh yes, Delaware. So we finally got Delaware. So we are the entire East Coast of the United States.
Let's go. So thanks to all the new listeners out in Delaware and in other parts of the country that might be listening for the first time in other states that we've already hooked.
Welcome.
And welcome to listeners abroad.
Yes.
Let's go. Giddy up.
Yes. Go do us a favor. Go review. If you like what you're hearing, go review us. It really helps us with the algorithms. It is impossible to get reviews.
It's right.
Know. Like people listen, but and they write you and they say, "Wow, this stuff's great," but no reviews are impossible to get.
Yeah. Well,
hard.
Listen, if anyone's willing, please would appreciate it.
Yeah. Please do.
And then
Scott and I will send you a nice little note if you do it.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Sure. No doubt. 100%.
Definitely.
And what was I going to say? So this week we have a guest, a good friend of mine who I know from childhood. We played together as youth hockey players.
Right.
Probably bantams and midget. Maybe, bantams and midget. I played with him. He was my D partner.
Nice.
Brad Siegel.
He now the head coach.
He's a co-head coach or assistant coach.
Right. He was the head coach for Mahwah, and then they merged with two other towns. Yep. So they take the largest town, he was saying, and that person gets the head coach title, I suppose.
Yeah, I think they were already. But in any event, so he's been coaching varsity, public school varsity ice hockey for 11 years now. Yeah. Got a ton of experience, has seen a ton.
Yeah.
He played himself. He also played football. So we're going to learn a lot from him and like what he looks for in players at the high school level.
Yes.
We talk about the landscape, and here in New Jersey, we have public high school hockey, and then the better hockey is generally the private and parochial schools.
Right.
So we do touch upon the differences between public versus some of the local private schools.
Sure do.
And how that impacts like the talent pool as well as, I guess it seems like dwindling numbers in overall of hockey players.
We touched on that too. Kind of how the registrations for all youth players is up substantially. But high school hockey seems to be suffering.
Yeah, and he pointed out COVID.
All these towns are merging.
Yeah, he pointed out COVID specifically as something that wasn't the only reason.
No, it wasn't like the
didn't
driver,
help.
but yeah, I'm sure it did not help.
Right. So as a result, you've got multiple towns that are coming together to under one team.
They're
name.
merging because they don't have enough players to do it themselves.
Correct.
Which is crazy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprised. Very surprised.
So this is great, and I'm glad that we're also finally talking about some age groups older than our own boys. So that's really awesome.
Yeah, because I'm sure a lot of you have questions. Even kids, if you have kids that are younger than ours, have questions about how it works.
Yeah.
Kind of when you're going to high school. So this you'll actually hear from a high school head coach. Exactly what they look for, what they don't want, what they do want, what they look for in kids.
Exactly.
It was a cool conversation.
Yeah, no doubt. And so we're going to get up to that in a second. Anything else? Just kind of paint the picture. Because I know we might have talked a little specific with him, but maybe it won't be so obvious to listeners. Is there anything else that
I'm trying to think? Obviously we touched on he mentions the Bandits during his the Bandits are a youth organization.
Yes.
To give you guys a little bit of context. So he is was a high school head coach of a town. That town merged with two other towns because, like we said, they don't have the numbers to form teams anymore. So they have to do these mergers with other towns.
They call it co-oping.
Yeah, co-oping. Yes, right. And that is happening a lot around us in North Jersey.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if that's happening elsewhere. But other than that, I'm trying to think context wise. Other than that, I think you guys will understand kind of what you say, what we're talking about. But he's a good dude, and he gives a lot of really good insight about, kids, people who have kids in middle school who are looking to play high school hockey. He kind of maybe, pulls back the curtain a little bit on the high school game and kind of what they look for and that type of stuff, which was neat.
Yeah,
we even talked to little high school goalies.
Yeah, and also
it was a cool conversation.
And women and girls.
We talked
in the game
girls.
also.
We talked girls in high school. Yeah,
Touch upon that.
No, I forgot about that. You're absolutely right. It was a good conversation. Right. I thought this was good. It was different not different, but it was kind of another a different avenue than we normally go. Right? Because like older kid hockey.
Yeah,
which was good.
All right, so awesome. Let's. Why don't we kick it over to Brad?
Yeah,
and I hope you guys all enjoy the interview.
Yeah, have fun, guys. See you on the other side.
Cool. All right, everybody, welcome to our next guest on Crazy Hockey Dads. We've got Brad Siegel, assistant coach at Paramus Mawa Lyndhurst in New Jersey. Been a varsity head coach and assistant coach for the past 11 years, coming to us with tons of experience, tons of knowledge. I've had the honor and pleasure of playing youth hockey with Brad. We were D partners. And it's funny how it's a small world, the game of hockey. And many years later, we reconnected, played some men's league together. And it's just been great reconnecting with you. And thank you so much for joining us today, dude.
Thanks for having me, guys. I got to be honest with you, I was kind of looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I was honored and very much looking forward to this.
Oh, dude, you were one of the
Appreciate it.
first people I thought of when we decided to have guests on. I was like, I know
Nice.
a guy that's going to be perfect.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
because honestly, you have a ton of experience, and we don't talk so much about the high school age group as of yet, just because our kids aren't there yet. So you're bringing a perspective that I'm sure a lot of our listeners are interested to hear. But just kind of kick us off, Brad. Just briefly, your journey through hockey and how you got to where you are.
I mean, like you, played club hockey growing up, played for the Saints. Unfortunately, we didn't have high school hockey at Mawa High School.
That's
So,
right.
it was just straight club hockey for me. So I was just the travel hockey player and very, very jealous of all the kids who got to play for like Suffern and Bosco and, like those big time schools. To
Sure.
me, I just thought that was like the coolest thing in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I tried out for my Division III college hockey team, but unfortunately I did not make it. One of my biggest kind of regrets that I got cut from my D3 hockey team. And then just after that was that's at Fairfield, by the way. And then after that, just kind of played some men's league for a while. And then I took a break from hockey for probably 8 or 9 years because I just, you kind of get a little burnt out from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I became a teacher, and I had the idea of starting to coach. And once I got the coaching bug, I was just like all back in on it. I love coaching. It kind of reignited the love for the game for me. And then once I got the varsity job, I did like some like youth teams and stuff like that for a while. And then I got the varsity job at Mawa in 2015, and I've been there. I've been the head coach ever since. And then we had to merge with Primus Mawa Lyndhurst, and I'm kind of head coach on the Mawa side, but we co-op with them, so they have the guy Jake Reiser. He's really the head coach. So now I'm kind of the assistant for that.
Right.
Oh, that's how they did that when you guys kind of were merged together. They took two head coaches and kind of put them together. That's how they do it.
Yeah, basically the way it
Okay.
goes is like two towns join. One town has to be the lead school, and the other town has to be the partner school. So
I see.
Paramus is hence the P as opposed to the PML. They're the
Right.
lead school, and we're the secondary school.
Is that because they're bigger?
You know what? We're actually almost exactly the same
Is
size.
that right?
They
I
had
didn't
already
realize
had the
that.
co-op in place, so it was kind of
Oh,
easy
okay.
for us to hop in on it. So otherwise, there's a lot of paperwork and a lot of approvals to be done for it.
I gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah. So that, just in terms of like the co-oping piece, what's that like all about? And I don't know how common it is across the country, but it seems like it's happening more and more around here. And
Yeah, in
I'm
our
assuming
area.
it's just due to a lack of numbers. Like, kind of what's your take on that? And like, are less kids playing hockey? Like, what are you seeing?
So it's a great question, kind of a loaded one too. We tried as hard as we could to not co-op. Like we were like, let's stay Mawa. Let's stay it as long as we can. But the reality is, like, the numbers just aren't there right now, and it's not just us. We were actually probably the last schools to kind of really join. Everybody else has done it, and it's really a numbers game. I don't think as many kids are going into youth hockey, it feels like, or if they are, they're not staying in their hometowns, and that's become an issue. It's a challenge though. Like it's got a different feel than what it was when it's just your home school. But when you have, 13 kids on a team, like that's not a good feel either. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we had a season last year, we had 19 kids, and probably only like 11 of them were like, really varsity kids or something like that. And that's a tough
Right.
that's a tough road to go down when you're playing against AAA kids for 18U AAA kids, and you got some
Yeah.
kids out there who maybe shouldn't be there. That becomes a tough road to go down, you know. So if you want to compete, it's like join or die. That's pretty much what it comes down to. Um, and yeah, and I always kind of felt like a little bit like, oh, like we failed that way. And then I also found out that like high schools in Minnesota, they're co-oping like crazy. And I'm like, if
Oh,
they got a
really?
co-op,
Oh,
I
that's
said,
Right.
that's
interesting. Yeah.
that, I don't feel as bad now,
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. So it's like a nationwide thing that you would
right.
say is happening with the co-oping. Is it? Yeah.
Say that again. Sorry,
No,
Scott.
dude, and it's a nationwide thing. It's not
A
just a
total
local. Yeah.
nationwide thing. Yep.
Interesting.
So I have a question, Brad, kind of to
Yep.
play off of that. So, it's funny you mentioned when you were talking just now, you mentioned about the registrations for youth hockey being on the rise, and we've talked about that on the podcast a couple times, right? I mean, it's definitely on the rise. I'm curious, in the next couple years, well, maybe I don't know how I'd say maybe 8 to 10 years. Do you think that those now registrations at the youth level will bump up the numbers for high school teams down the road? Do you think it kind of ebbs and flows up and down? Do you think that
I
will kind of be down the road? That wave will come?
I do. I definitely do. Like, I feel like I think COVID was really bad for everything.
Mm,
Um, COVID really killed a lot of that, like, hey, maybe I'll go try hockey, maybe I won't.
Right.
Like I think there was a window there of like two,
interesting.
3 years where kids just like weren't going into it.
Yeah.
Um, so, like, we're trying to build it up from Mawa. Like, we're running like real bare bones clinics. Like we're getting like we just want kids to just come out and just we're gonna put them in just like learn to play clinics. Just get them out. We're gonna subsidize that, make it
Right.
affordable for them,
Mhm.
and we want that to just grow. Because like I always feel like I just think high school hockey is a good product. Look,
Yeah.
not everyone's going to get to play NHL. Not everyone's going to get to play college hockey.
Agreed.
But if you can play high school hockey and you get to play in front of your friends, your family, your girlfriend, they all come out like, dude, there's nothing like it, man. You know what I mean? You're like a rock star and like,
Yeah.
it's so much fun. So I think it's a good product. I know it's not as good of a product. Like Scotty, you remember growing up, right? Like you had some of those high schools. I remember going to see like one of our buddies' games, and I was like, "This is like half the quality of like what we
What
played."
we
You
were
know what I
playing.
mean?
Right. Totally.
And that's just, and I get that. Like travel hockey is a better development tool with no doubt. Like they're just it's run well. It's a great. I love travel hockey, but there's something real special about high school hockey and playing for your school, playing for your town. It's just cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just fun. It's cool. There's nothing like walking the halls and having your friends there and teachers come up to you and your name's on the loudspeaker. We got kids on the wall of fame for it. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
special, you know?
Yeah. 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 No, as you're talking about that, I think the one game, so I only played 2 years for high school, and then I just played travel,
Right.
because it was not good, and I didn't, I had a falling out with the coach, and that was a
Right.
story for another time,
I
maybe.
was going to
But
say that story definitely needs to come out one of
oh,
these
maybe
Yeah.
one
episodes.
day. Anyhow, but so I just played travel, but I remember we played Indian Hills. I went to Ramapo and we played
Yeah.
Indian Hills, and I just remember like over at Sporto at like the rink. What is it? It's TK now, right? Is
Yeah.
it TK?
TK.
Yeah,
Yep.
TK with the stands or whatever. I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
remember seeing like my friends from school, and like I'd played all these years of hockey, and it was just like my dad and like whoever parents, but it wasn't like you had like people cheering for you. So I completely understand what you're saying and how it can be really awesome for kids that's going to be like the pinnacle of their hockey journey.
Yeah. And
And
and you know
yeah,
what the reality is like for the majority of kids, like we're talking like 90%, that's gonna be the end of their the pinnacle of
yeah,
their hockey journey, you know what I mean?
right, right.
Yeah.
So let's switching gears just a little bit. All right, so now
Sure.
you're a father of two.
Yep.
Yep, two boys,
Yep, 13 and 10.
13 and 10. Wow, dude, you are like
Mm.
so close. You have a teenager. Jesus, you're like
I
Jamie.
know.
Jamie's got a 2012 also.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Yeah.
so they're athletes. Walk us through kind of like that. And they played hockey. They're not playing hockey anymore. What's the story there?
So, I had, like, my oldest one and, learned to skate at probably 4, we did the whole thing, learn to skate, learn to play, we did mites, um, we did, like, instructional leagues, and we did bandits. Um and my youngest one as well, he kind of did everything as well. But they also played like soccer, baseball. They did everything, you know. And to be honest with you, they kind of liked everything. They really did. Um, Ever since a kid, my oldest one just loved baseball. Like
Mm.
it's just in his blood. Like the first time he picked up a bat, like was just, you know, he swings lefty and like he just there's just something about it that he loves. He's like Bam Bam, like, he walks around with, like, a bat all day, you know what I mean? Like,
That's
literally,
amazing.
you know, and, like, only us old guys know who Bam Bam is, you know what I mean?
It's a
Totally.
great
But, like
reference.
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, so he did that, and, like, you know, so I knew that, like, he loved baseball a ton, and he played hockey. He's a good hockey player. Like, he played Bandits, he liked it. Um I think they're just kind of came. So he did like, you know, one year he did soccer, he did bandits, and he does baseball, right? And then he also came to me at the end of the year and he was like, I might want to try football. I was like, that's all right. I was like, you can do that. You know, I played high school football growing up and I played football basically my entire life. And I was like, yeah, you can do that. I was like, but you can't do both.
Right.
I was like, you got. I was like, if you want, we could try football for a year. And I was kind of like, look, let him try it. Let's see how it goes. And he kinda just loved it, you know?
Mm.
Not as much as baseball, but he loved it, and so now it's kinda transitioned into, like, a football, basketball, baseball kind of a, kid, and my younger one kinda just followed suit on that too.
Right.
You know, he wanted to try football as well, and he liked it as well too.
So
Um
it was like child led in terms of like the decision making there and what sports to play.
Yes,
Like you exposed them to all these sports and then they gravitated towards certain ones and you're, feeding those passions.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It'd also be really hard now to, financially, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, like, to be doing both baseball and hockey. I mean, like, he plays on a, club baseball team at 13U, and, I mean, it's almost hockey prices to play for that,
Yeah,
and
it's
to
right around.
have
Yeah.
all that, to have, like, a kid in baseball, you know, with
Yeah.
club prices, and then you have hockey club prices, and then I mean, financially, it's, like, almost impossible, and just kinda coming back full circle on that, Scotty, too, is, like, hockey doesn't do itself any favors with the cost of it. You
Mm.
know what I mean?
That's for sure.
Like, I was listening to, Spittin' Chicklets, you know, and, like, they had TJ
Yeah.
Oshie on, and he was talking
Yeah.
about
It's
Oh,
good.
that was the last
did you
one.
hear it?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was their last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking about growing up in Minnesota, and, like, the rink owner would just leave him the key. He's like,
He's
"Yeah, just."
crazy.
Can you imagine that happening around here? No way.
Bobby Reese, the owner of the Ice Fall,
There's no way.
sick the dogs on you.
There's
You know what I mean?
exactly. He'd have the cops there so quick. I mean, your head would
Oh,
spin, right?
oh,
Like,
snipers, the whole 9.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah,
You
100%.
know? I mean, so, like, hockey does not do itself any favors and that's kind of also maybe a product of where we live as well, you know,
Sure.
but the price to play has just become really astronomical and has become a really it it kills me a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
You know, that's also, by the way, why I think high
Yeah.
school hockey is a good product. I mean, now it's like I think we got it down to like $400 to play for the whole season.
Wow.
That's not bad.
I mean, that's fantastic. I
Yeah,
mean, you
that's
get
not bad at all.
transportation to and
Yeah.
from the rink. You
Yeah.
get, you know, two and a half practices because sometimes we do a third practice.
Right.
2.5 practices a week, 2 games in the weekend. I mean, that's
Right.
a you know, for 30 games, that's a great
awesome.
product, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, super affordable comparatively speaking.
No question.
Yeah.
But so let me ask you a question. Like, so just putting the hockey bit aside, so Jamie and I have talked like at length about like the early specialization, the early professionalization of children, and how like the multi-sport athletes. It's not like when we grew up, where like it sounds like your kids are getting more of a taste of what like
Yeah.
we had growing up. My question for you is like in other sports, like for baseball and football, like to what extent are parents, families, children doing things outside of practice, like getting like special, like I don't
Like
even know
private
what
lessons.
like private
or
lessons,
like,
right?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Are you seeing that?
is there a lot of additional expense outside, because we've got families that we know, and ourselves included, that are taking our kids before school to go skate and like the Cutting Edge and like other places, and just dropping money left and right to keep these kids like keep their skill level up. Do you find that in other sports as well?
We do. You
You
know what?
do.
And going back to that, like I'll give you a perfect example. Like we got a kid, you know, a friend, like, I think he gets hitting lessons 3 times a week. He
Right.
gets,
Right.
instruction on it, and, like, dude, that stuff's not cheap, man, you
No, it's
know?
not.
And, people do it, they do it all the time. It's tough, man, it's kind of a loaded question too, you know what I mean? Because you wanna kinda, like, take a step back and say, "Alright, I'm not gonna do that." But I
Yeah.
guess at some point when you get to that 13, 14, 15, 16, the specialization is going to start to happen naturally because
Yeah.
if you want to compete at that upper level, I think
Yeah.
up to like high school, eighth grade, play as many sports as you can.
Right.
Get it in, skip a hockey game for a soccer game, skip a whatever game for this game. You know what I mean? Like, get it in. And then when you get to high school, if you can maybe drop to maybe 2 sports, that would be, like, ideal, like a hockey and a lacrosse or hockey and baseball or
Mhm.
hockey and soccer even sometimes, you know what I mean? Try to keep that second sport in there just to give your body and your mind a break from it, because you just don't wanna get burnt out. I can't tell you how many kids I see get burnt out from hockey, you know?
Well, so on your
Sure.
team, like, or talk about last year. I don't know if you have a full sense of this year's team, but were mostly the hockey players on your team, were they multi-sport athletes, or is hockey their
W
only?
Probably have maybe 50%, maybe 25%, around there.
So like not necessarily the majority.
Not the majority, correct.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, I
And
wouldn't
Correct.
have thought that.
Yeah.
so then when you talk about the burnout piece that you just mentioned, like, so can you give like an example of how have you seen that kind of manifest itself? Like kids that start as freshmen and then like have stopped, or like, well, yeah, what are you
I
like?
think
And
kids like I'll take one of my players played for the Avs, played AAA, played Hitmen, whole nine. Probably did every possible clinic before school, after school, that whole 9 yards. Really good player, like really, really good. Unbelievable hands, fast. Um, had the opportunity to play in college, turned it down, and just wanted to focus on other things. Got through high school,
yeah,
loved it, like loved playing hockey, got to college,
And
said I don't
shut it
want to play,
down.
I'm done,
Yeah.
I'm out. I had another kid
Yeah.
went to the Air Force Academy and he was stud, like stud. Uh no desire to even pick up a stick ever again.
Wow.
Like,
Really?
really,
dude, and he was stud, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, could have played AAA, but he played tier two, he played double A bandits, like the whole nine. Played
Right.
also was like an all-state lacrosse player and was a like all league soccer player. Just
Mhm.
straight like savage, you know what I mean? Went to the the Air Force Academy. And he could have played like club hockey easily. No desire to do it.
Wow.
No desire to do it.
Wow.
interesting. And from what you can tell is just from being pushed to play like endlessly throughout
I
his
think he just
childhood.
had enough. Yeah, I think he just kinda had enough and wanted to do s and, like, I think some kids just wanna do something else, you know what I mean? I think they kinda get to
Yeah,
that point, and then they just kinda let it go. And then I will say, though, on the flip side, like, I've had in my 11 years, let me think, I had 1 kid play, Division I college, and I had 2 kids play Division III college, and a ton of kids play club hockey, and they love it. You know,
Right.
right.
and they love it. So there are, some kids just,
Depends on the kid. Yeah.
yeah, I think it
And
really does depend on the kid. I really do.
right.
So,
Right.
um,
I could see that. I could see certain kids kind of hitting high school and be like, you know what, I'm good. I don't need to continue this,
yeah,
and go focus on other things. Yeah, I get it. I definitely
yeah,
get it.
I think it really does depend on the kid.
Yeah.
It's not a surefire thing that a kid's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm so good in high school, I'm gonna play in college guaranteed." I think it
Right.
just depends on the kid, on how they feel it's a part of their life and how they want it to be a part of their future. You know what I mean? Because like it's a sacrifice. You got to decide: do I want to like, am I gonna skip like going to parties and stuff, or am I gonna,
Right.
to play hockey, or am I gonna, or am I gonna, or I want to live that life?
And hang out, yeah, with your buddies. Yeah, no, there's no question about it. It's a trade off, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely a trade off.
So so what do you think, like, when you're talking about like high school kids, to what extent are parents involved, if at all, with you, or anecdotally through the kid? And like what do they get right? What do they get wrong? Like
you know, if you had to give some advice to parents out there about like how to navigate like your kids like a high school athletic career, or is there
Right.
anything that you've seen over the years that's just like a surefire fail, and other things that like just are definitely, you know, better ideas?
Such a good question. So I feel like parents kind of get wrong. Here's one thing I think parents get wrong. I think depending on the coach, and this is one thing that like I was telling you before, I was like, I sucked my first 3 or 4 years. Like I look back and I'm like, I don't even know what I was doing. Like I just did it, man. You know what I mean? Like I was like thinking about like stuff we used to do and whatever, you know what I mean? And like, and that's only something you kind of develop over time. You know what I mean? And like, um, and one of the things that really sucked at in the beginning was just not thinking about each kid and how you're going to use each kid and how you're going to make each kid feel special, feel seen, feel pushed, feel like they're getting better each day. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I did a very good job of that my first few years. I think I was too focused on like winning, and you know what I mean? There's definitely a big ego like uh uh aspect to it too. You know what I mean? Um and once you kind of get over that, you know, and you kind of like think about more about like developing relationships with all these kids and how to push them in their own way, like then that kind of stuff goes away. But like some parents don't realize that like we are thinking about your kid all the time. You know what I mean? Like what I would do with my coaches, I have two assistant coaches. We would literally talk about the lineups every single day. What did you see from this kid from practice? How is he looking today? How is he looking today? What is he doing tomorrow? Should we put him in this spot? Should we put him in that spot? Do you think he can handle this? Can he handle the power play? I don't know. Can he handle PK? Can he handle varsity? Can he handle taking a hit? Can he handle this? You know what I mean? Like we think about that stuff all the time. And I think what parents don't realize is that like you see kids in every situation in practice, right? Whether it's a small area game, whether it's a drill, whether it's a locker room, you see them all the time under a different magnifying glass, a different lens than what you see them in their house. You know what I mean? So like you really see kind of who they are. Um and I think a lot of coaches really are thinking about like how can I use this kid? And you know, and I think I was saying that before because like as you get more experience, you learn more. I try to think about like having my own kids in it and what, you know, and how I would want to treat my own kid on the team. And that's where I think parents kind of get wrong. And they're like, sometimes I feel like if they would just lay back, things will work itself out. You
Yeah.
know, like I think life has a way, hockey especially. Hockey's like you know, it's a no joke sport from everything, from like schlepping your bag to the rink, from putting your equipment on, from getting up at 6 a.m., from you know, digging pucks out in the corners, from getting lit up in center ice. You know what I mean? Like it's a no
Mhm.
joke sport. So like it has a way of working itself out. And if your kid was needs to be at a certain spot, I think it'll work its way out, you know? So
Right.
I have kind of a follow-up on that, Brad.
sure.
So, um, Scott and I talk a lot, and we talk about youth kids, how when they make a mistake on the ice, a lot of the times their eyes go to the stands and go right to their parents.
Oh yeah,
Most of
my
the
kids used to
time,
do that too.
right? Most of the time it's to their dad, right?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so do you see that at the high school level? Do you still see players looking to the stands after a mistake or something like that?
You know, not as much.
You don't.
Mm.
Okay. I would
Not as
hope not,
much.
you know?
I think
Uh,
they grow out of that by the time they get to about you're 12, you're
yeah.
13.
They just don't give a
That
fuck anymore about their parents.
dude, the testosterone kicks in and they're just like, "Fuck you,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly. They're
good."
like, you know what, Dad? Go fuck yourself. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not playing that anymore. Good. That's what I assumed that because we talk about it all the time. You know,
Yeah.
how, you know, parents are kind of overbearing sometimes to their kids. And immediately the kid looks to the stands. I mean, before he
Yes.
even looks at the coach,
Yeah.
you know, they
Yes.
go to the stands. You know, it's
Yes.
you
Yep.
know.
So like on that thread though, so like what would be like red flags that you've seen, like, if you're screening for crazy from a distance, like I'm sure you've crossed like the paths of a ton of parents at this point. Like, are there anything that like you
I
would
could
say like,
smell it from a mile away, Scott.
so
I'm
what
sure.
what is it like if you were to say like, hey, parents out there, listen, here are a few things that like I advise against. Is it like over communication? Is it like giving your kid different advice than playing advice than what you're giving them? Like, what are some of the things that are just like, dude, parents, like, just cut it?
I tell the kids one thing, because like I've gone through so many bad pitfalls with this that I feel like I've kind of figured out better ways to handle these things.
Yeah.
Every parent wants their kid to play, and every parent wants their kid to succeed. And I completely understand that. You know what I mean? I totally, totally get it. The thing is, like, what you should, this is what I tell my players. I'm like, we're thinking about you. If you want to like have a talk about like where you're at, what you want to do, don't come and ask me, coach, I want to play on the first line, or don't come ask me, coach, I want more playing time. Don't like, cause I know you do. Come and ask me, say, coach, what can I do to get better?
What can I do to earn it? Yeah, exactly.
Right. Coach, what I love hockey. Coach, what do I have to do to get better?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we can have an honest conversation about like where you're at, like what you need to work on to get that. And then we can start to see like a lot of kids will be like, coach, what do you do to get better? I'll be like, you have to work on your foot speed right now. Like your foot speed is a little too slow for where it's at, and we have to work on that. Coach, how do I develop my foot speed? Well, you have to really work harder in drills. Like you have to work on getting your first 3 strides to the corner faster than that other guy. And that comes with working hard in practice to seeing that, like things like that. Or like you have to work on your physicality, and like, so if I'm a parent, I would strongly encourage either like the kid to come up to the coach to ask that, which is a great opportunity, or even honestly, even a parent can come up to a coach. Like if the kid's too nervous about it, because I like at like 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old, that's hard for a kid to do that. At high school, they can do that now. They're like, they get to that point. But at a younger age, like I don't see any problem with even a parent going up to a coach and being like, coach, thank you for the coaching. What do I need? What should my kid work on to get better? What does he have to do? And then you can start to have a good, open, honest conversation. Work on his hands. You know what I mean? Like I notice when he receives passes, like sometimes the puck's popping off his stick. You know what I mean? Like work on just small little things like that. That's one thing I think parents don't really realize. Not like, why is my kid on first line? He needs to be playing with this kid. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Coaches want to win. Like they're going to put the best kid out there. Like so. I mean, they're not just like intentionally putting your kid behind. I mean, I've had parents cursing me, throw water bottles at me, and you know what? Once they got their punishment, I'm still going to probably put them out there because I want to win too. Like
Right.
I'm not going to like forever punish some kid for those things. I got thick skin when it comes to that. So, yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. You've had water bottles thrown at you by parents?
I had a parent throw a Gatorade bottle at us from like like behind the glass.
Oh, he threw it
Are
up
you
and over?
kidding?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
wild.
What was that about? Do you remember?
I benched his kid because he sucker punched some kid in the back of the head, so he didn't.
And the
And the dad didn't like that?
He didn't like that.
I would have been crawling over the glass to rip my kid off the ice. I wouldn't even need the coach to do it. I mean, like
He didn't like that. He like he thinks it's like the NHL where like you can go out there and just like you should have retribution and stuff like that. Like, dude, it's not the NHL. Like you can't do that.
You can't do that.
You can't do
That's
that. Like,
wild.
You're teaching. Like you. First off, we were up, by the way, too. We would have had a power play, but he chose to do that, and now we're even up now.
God.
pretty selfish,
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So exactly. So in addition to getting your revenge, you know what I mean? Like
You hurt the team.
now you hurt us. Now you hurt our chances. And we lost that game too.
Oh my God,
man.
that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So just listening to what you were saying, so in terms of coachability, it sounds like that's like the number one thing you'd recommend to like players out there who are looking to get more ice time or maybe get on special teams or just improve, generally speaking. Like, don't necessarily wait for the coach to come and like say, hey buddy, XYZ, because you're coaching like a whole team. If anyone's got concerns, just like talk to the coach about how they can get better.
Yeah. And right, like coachability is like like the number one thing. You know what I mean? Like you have to be coachable because that's going to set you up for success. You know,
Yeah.
like skills, obviously skills are important. Skills will skills will get you in the door,
Yep.
but you have to be able to be coachable to be able to be successful once you're there, you know? And
Yeah.
like, you know, and then when you're having an open dialogue, an open conversation with a coach about it, now you know what they're looking for too. You know,
Right.
everyone's going to coach a different way. Like, hey, I need you to be harder on the puck you got to be first on the puck down there. Like you have to beat that guy to that corner. And if you're not like that's where I need you to get better at. So if I just told you that, now the opportunity is there. Oh, let's see what happens. Like whatever next shift he might be down there, you know. So like I just think communication is the most important thing, you know.
Interesting.
So and that's something I don't know. I just feel like I learned over time more.
And so when we say coachable, in your words, how would you define a kid that's coachable? What are the things that they're doing, saying?
If I tell a kid to do something like so simple, like puck pops out of the zone, the defenseman goes back and gets it. I want him to run D to D as fast as he can. You know what I mean? Like I want that puck being spread as opposed to pushing it back up the wall, back up to where it's jammed up on, right? So like I'm gonna tell him, hey, next time that puck was back, I want you to run D to D as quickly as you can, right? That's a coachable moment. I just gave him a task. I want him to see if he's gonna do that, you know?
Right.
So instead of thinking about his own agenda, he's got to think about my agenda. You know what I mean? The coach's agenda. So that's really more about being coachable there. So or like I said, like when you're on that forecheck, I need you to take an inside out angle, like get to his shoulder and push him towards the wall. That's wide, a really, really important. Put your stick to the inside, so you're now going to force him that way. And when I see him do that, I'm like, oh, okay, he's not now we're communicating. You know what I mean? Oh, dude, you did a good job. And then it's like you did. Oh, dude, great job on that. That was perfect. And now I can start getting on the second guy. Hey, you weren't in the right spot right there. He just did his job there. Now we can start on the second guy. You know what I mean? So that's like being real coachable. I'm like, that's how a good hockey team, like Florida Panthers, man, like those guys are just so good.
Yeah, it's awesome watching them.
Can I just tell you, like, interesting, because we know each other from high school back in the day. We're talking about high school. So, fun fact: a kid that I played high school hockey with at Ramapo,
Yeah.
he went on to have like multiple careers, including like he was a professional poker player, like he's a musician. Like,
Wow.
fast forward, dude is the AGM of the Florida Panthers. Shout out Sonny Maida. Sonny Maida. Yeah, dude. I mean, I'd love to connect with him because it's been a long time. But yeah, dude, it's the wildest
thing. On the
thing.
podcast.
I know.
That's what I said. We got to get him on too.
He brought the Stanley Cup to Ramapo.
That's unbelievable.
Unbelievable,
I
right?
saw McLaughlin had it. I think McLaughlin went to go see it.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. He's the current Rampo coach. He must have went to go see it. Yeah, I saw him on Facebook or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a fun fact that there's someone that I played hockey with has raised a Stanley Cup.
So cool.
What's McLaughlin's first name? The Rampo coach. Does he have a brother, Glenn?
Yes.
Oh man, I went to school with him when I was younger. My goodness.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's
Small
wild.
world.
Yeah, they grew up in the area. I forget.
They did, right?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I played baseball with, I think, do you know Eddie Scherer?
Of course he was. He's my assistant coach.
So I thought. I thought he might be. So I played baseball at Indian Hills with Eddie.
Oh, did you really? I got to tell him.
He's a great dude. Great dude.
Yeah. He was my assistant coach for the last couple of years, and he's still on my staff.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't know that we have a podcast.
Oh, nice.
Well, we will soon.
You can tell him, though.
Yeah,
you can tell him, and I'm sure he'll text me about it. I haven't spoken to him, but he's a good dude, though. Good guy.
Yep, he's great.
Yeah.
All right. So now we got you've been coaching for 11 years, and now you've got kids. And while they're not playing hockey, what's it like being like a career coach and a dad, and how are you navigating that with younger kids?
I kind of like watching them. I got to be honest with you. I like watching them. You definitely feel the other side now. You know what I mean? Because like I was on the coaching side for so long, and now I'm starting to feel the other side in terms of like some playing time, some coaching decisions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dad's side.
The dad side, exactly.
Yeah,
so I'm definitely trying to like think about how I would want parents to be, and that's how I'm trying to live. But look, like truth be told, like it's hard. It's completely hard. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you have to do the thing that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to go have a conversation with a coach. You want to go do it because you feel like it'll make you feel better. But the reality is it's not, you know? So I completely, you feel all the emotions that, and it gives you good perspective on it too, So,
But do you think like you coach older kids, and so you've got a lot of tools in your toolbox in terms of coaching? It's not like you're just like you've been like a younger kid coach where you just maybe know the basics. Like some like high level stuff, and
yeah,
like when you're talking, and that's hockey. Obviously, you played high school football, but
right.
I guess more to the point in terms of like being a coach. Do you feel like you treat them um maybe
My high school kids?
differently? No, no, no. I'm talking about your own kids.
Okay.
Like, so because you coach older kids, like, are you able to put on a different hat, like when you're giving, like, talking to your own kids?
You kind of have to, I feel like.
Well, I know you
Yeah.
have to, but not everyone can. And
Right.
so let me like maybe give a little more context here. So like myself, like when I started coaching, and it was only for a couple of years, nothing like like on your level, it was all youth hockey. But again, I was like coaching my kid also, and here I am, like wanting to give him all this feedback and like try to like watch video and pointing out all the things that he could be doing better. And like at times I was a hard ass, and it was just not I wasn't very reasonable often. And it took a little while for me to see that. And I'm just curious if, in your household, like, are there, how things have been going for you? Are you able to like rein in like your coaching instincts and just kind of let the kids like, be kids? Or are you on them being like, guys, listen, we got to do this, we got to do that, blah, blah, blah.
Like that's probably part of my downfall there is
Yeah.
I'll bring that home a little too much sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with my older one, like I'm probably a little I'm like much harder on him. You know what I mean? And like I think sometimes that does translate into it. That's hard. You know what I mean? I just kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, that's a hard thing to do, man. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
kind of like to flip that around, you know what I mean? And try to like get that perspective and realize that they're just kids and they're, and like what they're doing. It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm definitely not great at it. I mean, just kind of like we're all just trying to figure it out one day at a time and trying to just do our best and have a good relationship with the kids. But at the same time, you want to also push them because like,
Yep.
they
That
need to be pushed, right? They
Yep.
need to be
totally.
like,
We talk about it all the time. Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and like we're also not there to be their friends, right? They have friends, like we're there,
Totally.
we're there to be their parent, and you want to
Absolutely.
have a good relationship with them, but it's hard, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, when they slam their doors and go in the rooms and like don't want to listen to you about their cell phones and just
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, and they like they do take my advice on sports a little bit, because they at least they know that I come from a background that way. They'll take
Right.
a little bit of my advice, not so much in baseball as much because now like my older one definitely is like way better than I ever was. So like you know what I mean. So they will take my advice on certain things, um, but we'll see how long that lasts for.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Wow, I can only imagine what a balance that is, just trying to find like the right amount of pushing
Yeah,
versus overstepping. And I think that's like a constant theme that keeps on coming up. And for every family, every parent with their own kids, different circumstances, all different. But just it's hard. It's hard because
Coaching's easier than parenting. You know what I
Oh
mean? I feel
yeah.
like
oh yeah.
coaching is way easier than parenting. Teaching is easier than parenting. You know what I mean? Like, it's just parenting is hard. Parenting
Very.
is really hard.
Very.
Yeah.
No question about
Oh.
it. Yeah.
And your two kids, are they similar in terms of their personality and the way that you approach them, or do you approach them differently? I mean, I know
I
there's
try
an
to be
age.
fair.
Yeah.
But I try to definitely be like as fair as I can because they'll call me out on it all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and I got two boys, and they fight like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, so I have to try to be fair and trying to navigate the waters of like who's right, not wrong, who's wrong, whatever. You know what I mean? Is just too hard, so I just send them both to the rooms usually. You know, you know what I mean? So like, and that's just, you know, that's just what we do. You know what I mean? You're both going down because I can't figure it out, so you're both going down.
Yeah,
that's it,
yeah.
you know?
It's both your faults, even if it's not. It is.
Yeah, exactly. And then they work it out though. They do. Like they've been working it out a lot that way. So
Nice.
That's good. Yeah, there was a mom that we had on our team like 2 years ago, and that was basically like, if the kids don't figure it out themselves, they're all getting punished.
Yep.
So like, I don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
You guys figure it out. There's 3 boys.
Yeah.
And like, you guys figure it out. But if I hear one word from any of you, it's all being taken away. So
yeah, that's so true. It's the only way to go about it, because you try to play Judge Judy and it's just too hard. You know,
it doesn't work. Because you don't know who to believe, and no, it doesn't work. Yeah. Very true.
So just kind of bring it back to hockey for a second. I'm curious, like so with kids that are about to like get to high school or want to play high school hockey, is there like any particular path that is important or you'd recommend for kids? And when I say path, that's probably the wrong way of putting it, but like in terms of prerequisite, either skills or experience, you know, for any listeners out there that have kids that are like just getting into middle school or thinking about playing high school hockey, is there, you know, anything like, what are you looking for in particular when, you know, you're at tryouts, you got kids that are like, I'm assuming a wide range of skill sets, right? So probably not everyone has a spot, but like, what are some like, just like the minimum things that a player needs to have in order to be considered to even make, whether it's the JV or varsity team?
Right. So most schools, by default, you're on JV. Like, you know, like we're not going to cut, except for Bosco and maybe St. Joe's and maybe Bergen. Like even them, they're not even really going to cut that much right now. So like, you know, you're almost pretty much guaranteed a spot. It's just going to be right where you end up. Are you going to end up on varsity or JV or your second JV team, right? And to go from like an incoming freshman, which could be like a 13 or 14-year-old kid, to playing against an 18-year-old kid is a huge, huge deal. Like you're talking about a boy who maybe hasn't even hit puberty yet, doesn't have, you know, has not developed, is not like thick, you know what I mean? Is playing against a kid who's man. Like a man, right? Exactly. Who would like, you know, who's probably 180 pounds and squats like 300. You know what I mean? Like kids are really strong nowadays. So like kids coming in, it's got to be a very special kid for a freshman to play varsity. You know what I mean? Like, because you're also kind of like, they have to really be ready for that. They have to be ready to be able to take a hit, because kids just head on, you know how it is, right? Like
I remember
18 years old, like, I remember, like all I want to do was light people up. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
And that's what you have to be able to handle that, you know? So like a lot of parents will be like, you know, I want my kid on varsity, you know, like, but you kind of don't right away. You know what I mean? Like you kind of don't right away. So like playing high school hockey it's obviously just a very physical sport. So like you have to be able to handle that. That's really a big component. And what's Otto? Is he 12?
No, he's 10.
11.
He's 10. Oh, he's 11 next month, and he's 2014.
Right, he's a 2014. Okay, so like, so he hasn't even hit checking yet.
No, but Jamie's son Dominic just started.
Just had his first weekend last weekend.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and I always feel like that's a big jump. You know what I mean? It's like it's a different game now.
No question about it. Yeah.
Right? It's a completely different game now, you know?
Absolutely. You saw kids that were, you know, that had a lot of angst going into the corner now, right?
Yes.
Where they didn't the last couple of years because there wasn't anything that was going to happen to you. Now you go into the corner and you're not looking over your shoulder and, you know, they're coming. You know, so yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
You're definitely right.
So I you know, like, and like to parents, like I know you guys have a lot of parents around that age, like, and especially like you guys deal with a lot of travel parents. So like their kids are probably pretty good and they're probably going to like want to be on that side. But like as a freshman, like be okay with JV. I have so many kids who look back and like, they look back and like, I love JV. JV was the best. There was no pressure, no nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Because believe it or not, everybody says this. Like we had an alumni game the other day and
did you play?
No, this was in January, actually. I coached it. No, they want me to coach it.
On.
I know. Listen,
You could be a player coach.
I was just gonna say you could be a
Come
player
on,
coach, I
dude.
suppose.
I know, right?
Like Yarmir
But they were all
Yager,
like,
owner
they're all
player.
looking back on it. They're like, they're like, those games were like, we had Mawa Ramsey or whatever. They're like, we were all so nervous for that, and like they feel the pressure from that because they'd never felt that before. So like that's another thing that they have to deal with. So like, be okay with sometimes like just getting on that JV team and just dominating on that. So like, and then it comes back to like, coachability. Skating is always number one. Skating is number one.
Yeah.
Number 0, number 1, number 2, number 3. Skate. That's all.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Right? Like skating
Yeah.
is,
Has to
whatever.
be. Yeah.
What's that?
It has to be these days, right?
It has
With
to be.
the level of skill, everybody's a stud skater. We've talked about it countless times on the podcast already.
Yeah.
Yes. Skate. And that's what I tell everybody. Like, go to everything you can, get on your edges. Like that is the most important thing. So, I mean, your stick handling, your passing, your shooting, that can all come with time. You know what I mean? But like skating is number one. That's really what you look for in tryouts too, was like, how's a kid skate?
Right.
How does he skate? You could tell within 30 seconds of their first couple strides, right? Their first couple crossovers, their first
what they
pivots.
look like. Yep.
They're like, you don't really pivot that good. No, your crossovers aren't very good. Nope. So there's always somebody who's going to surprise you, but for the most part, you could tell right away with skating. So like, I would just tell, whatever, skate all the time.
And when you were talking about just the physicality of the varsity game, so for anyone that's got like a kid in 8th grade looking for freshmen, let's say they're aspiring to play varsity and that's what they have their mindset on. Like, are we telling these kids hit the weight room? Like, if you want to, is that something you would recommend?
I think by the time you get to 8th grade, you should be lifting. You know what I mean? Like,
okay,
you should be. You don't need to be like,
doesn't need to be powerlifting, but you need to be lifting.
You need to be lifting,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, and that's I don't know. I guess I always wanted to. Like, I always wanted to lift and wanted to get stronger. You know what I mean? And like, so I would hope the kids want to do that. And I guess maybe that comes back to like, talking about passion and what they want to do. But like, hopefully they want to do those things because, and you don't even have to be doing the weights. You can do so much body weight stuff, but like, yeah, like how strong you are is really helps you out with physicality. Like you can tell who's going to be able to take a hit and who can't. You can tell right away. So, and especially at that freshman, even sophomores, man. Like even sophomores, like sometimes there's not a lot of growing between freshman and sophomore years. Usually by the time you get to be a junior, everything starts to even out. But freshmen and sophomores, like, you never know. Everybody grows at different rates.
Sure.
So, I would definitely be on some type of a strength program by the time you're at like that, 13, 14, 14, I would say, yeah, 14 is, it's
and
time.
Does PML, do you have weight room time?
We do.
For the hockey team
all summer.
All summer.
Great.
Yeah,
Nice.
I do twice a week. We do twice a week in the mornings, and I have the incoming freshmen there, and I modify the program for them. So like they're gonna come in and they're gonna do all body weight stuff. They're gonna make sure their form is good, not pushing them too hard on that stuff. And then we have summer league once a night. So yeah, we do it all summer.
That's
nice.
awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So sorry, James, did I cut you off?
No. If you, I'm going to change the topic, but so you let me know and I can change the topic.
Well, I'm going to change it a little bit, but I just wanted to also ask because we actually have not yet, and this is going to be a first for us, I think. James, correct me if I'm wrong, but what girls in the sport, right? Like at high school level, like
that's a really good call. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, neither one of us have daughters that are playing, and so I'm not very familiar with girls ice hockey. I mean, in men's league I see more and more women playing, but it's not a lot. I know the women's game has grown tremendously and there's a ton of talent there, no doubt. But what's the have you seen a lot of girls come through your program?
Yeah, we've had a couple girls. We had a girl goalie who was outstanding. She was outstanding. We've had a couple girl forwards. We had a girl defenseman. And they can definitely play. Like they can definitely play. The biggest hurdle for them is just the physicality of it.
That's
really.
what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. The biggest hurdle is the physicality. If they can handle the physicality of it, they'll do just fine, because a lot of them can skate, a lot of them can pass, and that can do a lot. Like I remember Lakeland had a really good defenseman girl. Like she could shoot. She could shoot, she could pass. She made all the right plays. You know what I mean?
Right.
So but like you definitely like, just like the boys, like you have to be able to skate and pass and shoot of that level. You have to be able to skate, with a at least like a double A kind of a. I always say like high school hockey is like a double A, level. So you have to be able to compete at that level.
Yeah. But in terms of like coaching, does that change like the girls on the team? I mean, I don't want to sound like ridiculous either, you know what I mean? But like I haven't coached girls and it's like a co-ed thing and it's like a very physical sport. Like I don't do you have to change your approach with the way that you're dealing with women on the team than you deal with like guys, or it's
Not
just
honestly.
I mean, I wouldn't think you would need to, but I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You know what? Not really. I mean, the girls who come in the sport are fantastic.
Yeah.
They're there because they love it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Totally.
No one's really been pushed like we said before, right? Hockey's a tough sport. You don't just like do it. Like there's so many hurdles to jump over in hockey that you only do it if you love it. So the girls who come in are like pretty tough.
They're hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty hardcore. Like I give them a lot of credit too, man. Like they're not changing in the normal locker room. They got to schlep their stuff out to the other side, and they got to come back in. They got to deal with like a lot of stuff, So I give them like a lot of credit. I'll definitely treat them the same, and I feel like you kind of owe it to them to treat them the same too.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
I would think they wouldn't want to be treated any different,
right? Right?
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like maybe but you kind of treat every player differently too, though.
Right.
Like there's certain players you can like completely
Right.
joke around with. Some players you just get on all the time because they just bug the crap out of you. You know what I mean? And they're like, and there's some players who are you're just it's just easy.
Yeah.
And the same thing is with the girls too. Like like they're just some that are just awesome. And there's some that are tough, and there's some that are you don't know how to get to them. So it's just like how do you reach all these kids at so it's all just part of the challenge.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. So here's my big question that I've been kind of saving.
Sure.
So for our listeners who are overseas and in other states, okay. So here in North Jersey and kind of where you're situated, you have like 5 like major private schools within like 5 miles in all different directions.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Of you guys. So I guess do you lose a lot of kids to those hockey programs with those private schools? And how are towns supposed to compete? And is the shrinking and the kind of coming together of all these towns, like you said, Paramus, Mahwah, Lyndhurst, is that adding to these towns having to consolidate teams because kids are going to play private more so than they were in the past?
Yes, it is, in my opinion. We're losing like your top 2 to 3 players, maybe even
in those
maybe
towns.
4.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
To
I mean,
private school, to all
I'm
those
talking
private
like
schools.
maybe like
Right.
1 per grade, say. So you're talking like
4, 4 or 5 kids over yeah, you're absolutely right.
And that's decimating, like straight decimating of a program. Like you can absolutely kill a program. And conversely, if you keep them, it's everything. You know what I mean?
When you guys are then they become studs, those kids, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's hard. There are certain kids that from day one, they're going to Bosco, or they're going to Bergen, or they're going to Joe's, or we lost a kid to, God,
St. Peter's
Andover
Prep
Academy up in Massachusetts.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they went up to play like prep school up there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. As an 8th grader, I was so excited about this kid coming up. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, Andrew's coming. He's like, no, I'm going to Andover County, Massachusetts. I was like, what?
Oh,
I was like, oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
That's tough.
Yeah. And like there's a couple each year. Yeah, it absolutely kills you. Like, and like for my first like 7 or 8 years, we lost like nobody. We lost like 1 or 2 kids, you know?
Right.
Okay.
And that was really it. And we were keeping everybody, which was awesome. And I think everybody
that's
was just
nice.
kind of staying. I think that was kind of the trend, really.
Right.
And that was really cool. That was when I feel like high school hockey was at its like peak in like that 2014, 2015, 2016. You know, it was like
Hmm.
so many schools, nobody was co-op.
Right.
It was awesome. It was really, really, really awesome. And now it's kind of like, you know, they're grabbing all the good ones. They're just grabbing the good ones, you know. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think people are going to start to see like, oh, maybe I should stay, you know. So,
Right.
Well,
at
you
least I
were
hope so.
sharing just before that that there are some instances where players make U-turns also.
Yeah. Yeah, so we had a kid who left. He was with us freshman year, and then they plucked him um, over to Bosco, and now he came back. So like we are like over the moon to have him back, and it's so cool to see him come back. He played summer league with us this year, and it's just it's going to be really exciting to have him back. So
So are
Oh,
there
nice.
like from what you've heard, seen, etc., are there any like any advice you might give to parents that are considering or getting lured or have a carrot dangled by these like, private schools? Like, and now like maybe they're saying, oh, you're going to play this, play that, only to find out that they're not playing that. Like, just because they're talking to you and your kid doesn't mean that it's ultimately
Yeah.
going to be an awesome journey for you. Like, it's kind of like buyer beware. Is there?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's such an interesting question, right? And it's such a loaded. It's just such a tough topic. The only thing I can say is this: you're going to be competing against like like those parochials. They'll have like 50 kids in their program, right? So
I
you're
think some have
competing,
like 70 plus now, I heard.
right? It used to be 90. Like my first
Is
couple
that
of
right?
years. Oh
Oh
yeah,
my God.
Oh, no
like
shit. I didn't
like
realize
Bosco had
that.
always had like 90 kids at tryouts.
Oh,
You know?
really?
Jesus.
Oh yeah, and then so they had 3 teams of 20, and then they would cut past that. Now they're down to like 55, 60 kids at tryouts, so they don't cut and they'll
Right.
just kind of like take them, right?
Right.
So
Interesting.
you're gonna get you're out, like you're gonna get on the team. You'll probably play JV. Great first year. You know, sophomore year comes. Okay, maybe you'll get a sniff. It's not even the kids in the grade that you're concerned with. It's the kids below you and the new kids that are going to come in that you also have to be concerned with. So even if they think that you're like, oh yeah, I got this spot, you don't know that. Like some kid from Russia might just like hop in. You know what I mean? Or some kid from whatever.
Like
Kids
legit
from like,
from Russia?
oh yeah, they had kids from
Yeah.
like
I don't
Get
doubt
out of
that.
here.
dude, I'm
Yeah.
not
I
no
don't doubt
joke.
that. Yeah.
Nothing surprising anymore.
Yeah. So like
Jesus.
you have to worry about the kids not only in your grade, but you got to worry about the kids below you and
Yeah.
the kids and the new kids who are going to come in. So that's what makes it really tough, you know?
Right. So, and because of that, kids will end up doing U-turns because the hockey
Yeah.
that they thought they were going to play, they're not. And so
Yes.
they want to get ice time
Mhm.
That's
and
right.
they're going back to the interesting. So, so you said like, I don't know how many kids, not that it really matters, but like, you're talking like a handful of kids a year or
No, like maybe like 1 or 2 a year.
one or two.
You
So
know what I
not
mean?
too many.
That come
No.
back.
But the problem is if you take
Right.
that over 4 years, that's 8 stud players.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are 8 game changing players. That's your
For
power
the, yeah,
play.
for that high
You know what I
school.
mean?
Yeah.
Like,
The
Yeah.
high
You're
school.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
and
No,
you
that
need
makes
kids who
sense.
can put the puck in the net, and that's kind of where it comes from on that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting a little long. There, I did want to, I guess one thing I just wanted to sneak in there, and but goaltending.
Yeah.
What's been your experience in terms of like, for any parents that are out there that have goalies? Is there anything that is particular to goalies that you would want to call out in terms of like advice, thoughts, feedback on that position, and would you anything different for them and those families?
So it's funny, like I never ever appreciated a goaltender until you become a coach. Like I never, right, Scotty? I remember our goalies, but like I never really thought about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you don't have a good one, it's a big problem.
That's correct. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. Like
Yeah.
the goaltender is the most important person on the ice. Like literally the most important person on the ice, and I never thought about that until I was a coach. Like, and they
Interesting.
they got the weight of the world on their shoulders. Like, that's
Yeah.
a really tough position. Like you know, they land in a soft one. Everyone's like, fucking guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like God damn it. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
look, if as a defenseman we make a bad pass, oh well, you know, puck goes around.
It's
true.
Yeah,
totally.
right? Puck goes around. Okay, let's get it up the next time.
Normally,
you
it
know, not a big
doesn't
deal.
wind up in the back of the net. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
different. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, so like the goaltending position is like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I never appreciated it before. I have like so much respect for goalies, whether it's like schlepping their pads around, what they have to deal with, like popping up and down, like whatever. That's a
lot,
really
yeah.
tough position.
Yeah.
Parents as well. It's even harder. I think it's probably harder on the parents than it is probably
Yeah,
the
I can
kid.
imagine that. Yeah.
Goalie parents are a special breed.
Yes,
That's what I've noticed.
absolutely. And like to be a goalie, you gotta. I think like the most important thing with a goaltender, honestly, is first off your mentality, like how you have to deal with your failures. You know, like
Mm.
how you have to reset yourself when you win a goal. The goal could be your fault or not your fault. Doesn't matter. You still have to move on.
Right.
And to be
right,
able
right.
to like, I mean, this is such like a mindful exercise of like being able to let something go
Yeah.
and reset yourself and play the next play and you know get back in the crease and get back at it, you know, and not let it eat away at you for the rest of the time, you know,
Yeah.
or not be pissed off that somebody didn't back check, you know what I mean, or like or somebody didn't cover the back door, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's like the majority of these things that happen here, you know, but like you have to just move on. And that, I mean, that's a really, really hard thing to do. And so I think that's probably the most important quality of a goaltender.
Yeah.
And then it's after that, like now I see goaltenders in a completely different light, but like I notice their mechanics. Mechanics are definitely like the second most important thing. How their how they move and how they are, where they are positionally. Like I was talking about that girl goaltender. She was probably like 5'6", maybe on a good day,
Oh, wow.
but
But she was always in position, right?
always. She would just like do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She would just like move like up, down, left, right, up, down,
Yeah.
back, forward, in, out. Like that is like
Yeah.
she made up so much ground for that, you know? So that was really I don't know. That's like the two that's the biggest thing I think for goalies. It's just like your mindset and your mechanics, you know,
Wow.
and then you know the other things would kind of work its way out. But it is a tough. You couldn't convince me to put on those pads.
Good. You don't have to tell me about that. I've never tried
Right?
it. No.
Me neither.
All right, dude. Listen. I think one last. James, you got anything else on your end?
I fired mine. My big
You're
one was
good?
the private school, you know.
Yeah,
That
that's
was I
definitely
was
an interesting topic.
yes. I was
Um,
curious to see how they dealt with that stuff.
All right, so got a few rapid fire questions for you.
Hit me.
You ready?
Do it. Go.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had to cut a kid of a friend?
Not cut because we don't cut, but I had to not play a kid with a friend, and it was tough.
Similar.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was really tough.
What was
I
the
grew up with the kid too.
you did? Did
Yeah.
that? Did yeah? Wow.
Yep.
It
It went south, and like
went south.
yeah, and again, like I wanted him to put him out there all the time as much as I could. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Again, this goes back to like what you think about. Like I'm thinking about it, but you also have to put the right kids out there.
Right.
You owe the other kids something too. You
No
know?
doubt. No doubt. Okay.
Like, yeah.
What was the hardest conversation you had as a coach?
Hardest conversation is just telling kids they're not ready to play yet. They're not ready for varsity yet. They're not ready for this yet. You know, like that's a hard conversation. Or when kids think they're better than they are and they should be
like,
here and
tamp
they're
them
not.
down.
Those are hard conversations.
Okay. One thing that you got wrong as a coach and you've learned from.
I sucked my first couple of years. Sucked.
Okay.
That's all right.
Terrible.
We sucked our first 30 episodes,
Like,
so it's all good.
Terrible, man. You know what I mean?
So what's like is there one thing, like one glaring thing?
Yes.
Yes. What's the one thing?
You got to be yourself when you coach. You can't be fucking Herb Brooks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
like you just have to be yourself. Like you can't be like, I don't know, like you just got to be you. Like you know what I mean? Like I wish sometimes I could be like that, like, you know, hardo, but you can't. I got to coach from like a different perspective, from a rapport, from a love perspective, as you know, and like that works for me, and you got to do that. That's I think what that's one thing I definitely got wrong in the beginning, but I think then I learned over time, and that's why I'm still doing it.
Awesome,
Nice.
dude. Well, those are my rapid fire questions.
Cool.
Yeah, dude, this was super awesome. I
Yes,
think
thank
our
you for coming
listeners are
on.
going to take away a ton from this, dude. Thank you so much.
Dude, my pleasure, man.
Yeah, and listen, you already got when do you guys kick off practice in earnest?
Right before Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving week
So
we
you
start.
still have a little bit of time.
Yeah, so we got a little bit of time.
All
I'm
right,
enjoying my time off right now.
Enjoy all of it. Enjoy with the kids. Good luck to football season.
Listen,
right.
thanks, boys. Like I said, you guys don't suck, man. You guys are all right.
dude, James, did you hear that? We don't suck.
We don't suck. Hey, listen, we're making progress. That's all that matters, right?
It's progress, not perfection.
That's right. That's the idea, dude.
You know what? That's a great 100%.
Right?
I live by that motto.
You can only get better every day. That's what we try to do.
If we continue not to suck, maybe we'll have you back on.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thanks, boys. I appreciate you.
All right, you got it, bro.
Take it easy.
Take it easy,
All right,
dude.
Nice chat with you, man. See ya.
Yep.
Bye.
And we're back from our interview with Brad Siegel, the co-head coach of Mawa Paramus Lyndhurst.
Paramus
Mawa
Lyndhurst. PML.
I'm telling you.
PML. Go PML. Let's go.
Hope you guys have a good season. Yeah, no, that was great. He's a good dude. That was a lot of really good insight about high school players.
Dude, you know what I thought was maybe not surprising, but yeah, maybe surprising was when he was talking about how much he thinks about his players.
That was cool.
And how
I
parents.
hope all head coaches and assistant coaches do that.
There was two things. There was that part when he was saying we were talking about what parents got wrong, and he says that a lot of times parents probably minimize or don't believe that the coaches are maybe thinking about their players and what's the best spot for their player, as well as how it impacts the team.
No, it's cool to hear that.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah, and how he can use that kid to be successful, and what he can do with him. These coaches don't want to not play players.
Right.
They have relationships with these kids.
Right.
As long as the kid's not a yo-yo.
Yeah, but then they also have an obligation to the team at large, and so they need and
Sure.
Not once did I hear him talk about doing things to prioritize winning necessarily, insofar as that or should I say winning at all costs. I didn't hear him talk about winning at all costs. They do prioritize winning. That's why they put certain players in certain spots.
Of course.
But
they really want to utilize their entire
thank you.
roster.
I didn't say that very well.
Yeah. No, I know what you meant. And listen, that was nice to hear, because I think sometimes us parents can get, I don't have a high schooler, but you see it on the youth level too. I think sometimes us parents get a little in our own heads about our kids' playing time or how the coach is using our kids. And I think that our minds wander into a not good area.
Right.
Where when you actually hear it from the other side, that the coach is actually trying to, again, as long as the kid's not a yo-yo, they're probably actively trying to figure out how they can use your child.
And if if your kid is not getting the kind of, let's say, playing time is the source of the aggravation. He's like, have
him come to me.
But
he even said have the parent come to me.
But ask how can I get better?
Yes.
Not I want this I need that. It's how can I get better? And for him, it's that opens up the door for an open and honest conversation. And it's from that point where you can start, giving the player an opportunity to do things differently, to earn more ice time, to earn special teams, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I think that's subtle, but maybe it's even not so subtle, but it's a very, I think, important distinction about how to approach a coach.
Yeah, no. And I know he mentioned, you can have the parent mention, how their kid can get better, how they can earn more ice time, but I like having the kid go. We've talked about that, you and I.
Right.
Have
100%.
the kid, have the kid go and, have a conversation between him and his head coach on what he can do to get better.
Right.
I like the fact that the kid goes, especially at that age, high school kids.
For sure.
That I like. I like them going and having to advocate for themselves.
But think about
That
it.
I like.
Even for him, who's got 11 years of experience, he still has the door open
For parents.
to come and talk to him.
Yeah.
And so,
listen.
and look, every kid is going to be, is different. And there are kids that are probably dealing with different things that might make it more difficult for them to talk to a coach or whatever it is. So, good on him for having the door open to both player and coach.
No, that was cool to hear.
100%.
That was very cool to hear. Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say that, oh God, now it's escaping me. For players that have their eyes on playing varsity. from
right.
jump from freshman
Oh
year.
yeah, from as a
it's like,
first. Yeah.
he's like, listen, you have a 4-year gap. Maybe it could
Between-
be even more
Yeah.
between a freshman and a senior, and like your kid needs to be able to handle the physicality
No
of
question.
playing against someone that's 4 years. It's like a man versus a boy at this
You're
point.
a young man versus
A young man, better
a
put.
young man
Yeah.
versus a somebody who is probably still going through puberty.
Right, and we've seen
Right.
high school athletes, and some of them are pretty fucking big
No question about it.
and strong.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and he mentioned that. He said kids are so much stronger these days.
Right.
You know, listen, you have to be a special kid, I think, to play varsity as a freshman. It's not impossible, right?
That's the other thing, right?
Right.
It's not impossible,
Definitely not impossible.
but
Yeah.
but playing JV is a good stepping stone.
Listen.
and it might be a shot to the ego for some players that might have the talent.
Right.
But once you start playing against kids that are that much bigger, stronger, faster,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know, there's only so much talent's going to do for you before you're getting, you know,
You might just not be ready physically yet, which is fine,
exactly.
right? And that's
Yep.
okay. There's
Yep.
nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know, right, like you said, it may be a shot to their ego, but you know what? Your time will come. If you're a good player, your time will come.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And even if you're just not the best player yet, you know, use that opportunity to get better.
Go
Don't
hit-
be discouraged.
No.
Just, you know,
Use
go
that
to the gym.
as fuel. Go to the weight
Right,
room. Yeah.
right.
Ask the coach, you know,
What do I need to
if
do to
I
get
pack
better?
on another try to put on 20 pounds of muscle. Try to put on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, you know, between,
Sure.
you know, year 1 and 2. Why not? Right. I mean, it's only going to help you in the long run.
If that's what the kid needs, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, no, that was good. It was, again, we have not really delved into high school hockey much yet.
Yeah.
You know, so that was good. I know we've done youth and a little bit of middle school, right?
Right.
You know, so that was good because I'm sure a lot of our listeners have kids that are on the cusp of, you know, of high school, or they're looking to take the kid to a private high school or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was some good insight from somebody who's in the throes of it.
No doubt.
You know?
Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah. That was cool. That was
All
very
right,
cool.
dude.
Yeah.
Well,
that was good, man.
Yeah. What else to wrap things up?
What else to wrap things up? Go if you guys have anything that you want us to talk about. You know, write us in. You know, we're always looking for stories. We always looking for conversations. You know, if you guys think there's a topic that we have not touched on,
Yep.
right?
Write us.
You
Let
know,
us know.
Give us a heads up. You know, don't forget about our Howie's, you know, Crazy 10 code, our Pro Shot Elite CHD 10, our API. Mentioned Crazy Hockey Dads. Our partners are great. You know, they've been wonderful to us. So
Yeah, check them out.
yeah, you know.
We'll have some more interviews coming up
Yeah,
this month.
we're trying to do
Looking
like
forward to it.
one
I
every
think
other
two.
week ish, something
I
like
think
that is the
two-
plan.
Two feels good.
Right now that the season's kind of on its way, we're going to try to do like, and we'll try to bring you guys, you know, some really interesting people.
Yeah.
You know, this was cool. And next, we're working on a couple things, but I think the next one's probably going to be that college coach.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yep. So
So
that would be amazing.
That's going to be pretty cool.
Yes.
You know, so be looking for that one probably 2 episodes away ish.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So I think that looks like it's going to happen.
Yep.
Which is awesome. You know, so yeah, man. So here we go. We're in it again.
We're in it. Welcome back, hockey
You're
season.
not kidding. My goodness.
No doubt.
Yeah. Hope you guys had a good weekend.
Yes.
I hope your kids played well. I hope you didn't have
Any major meltdowns?
any meltdowns.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys in episode 32.
And that's it. That's a wrap.
Crazy. We'll see you, boys.
All right, dude.
Later.
Good one. Talk to you.